Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel here where I talk about nutrition facts and health and just general wellness. I'm Jon T and I will be your host. It seems Mother Nature has a bit of a fever this spring. It's April and we've got snow. Don't believe me? Just look at these pictures. Now I know it's not a lot, but seriously, come on. It's the beginning of April and we've still got snow. So I'm in Alberta, Canada here. And yeah, so I'll be giving your first talk. I think I'm just going to share about my nutrition journey and why I'm doing this. And with that, on with the video. So today I will be talking about my health and nutrition journey, and I will be sharing some facts that I have been researching lately with regards to my health and some of the things I want to talk about today. And I will be sharing the studies that I have discovered in the description below. So if anybody's skeptical or, maybe they doubt some of the information I have, you can take a look at the evidence for yourself. And maybe you're just curious, like me. You want to know more. So my interest in nutrition started a long time ago. My parents were always interested in different health companies, always trying to sell different products like Zango or Melaleuca. And, they were both on, well, at least my dad was on a lot of medications, and they had different health problems, mostly heart and arthritis, things like that. Really runs in the family. Also, cancer has popped up in different members. So there's always been an interest for me. I ended up signing up for some of these companies. One of these companies just for a little while. It's not around anymore, but I got a chance to meet with some of the doctors that were doing the science, and it was so intriguing. It was such an interesting subject to me. How does the body build itself, put together? How do nutrients, how does calcium and vitamin C and magnesium, how does everything fit together? And how can I prevent some health problems? And potentially fix. Now, I can't make any claims. I'm not a healthcare professional yet, but I am planning on it. I'd like to become a registered dietitian one day, and I am enrolled in Precision Nutrition to do coaching online, which this is kind of how I like to start that platform. And get myself out there and start sharing facts and things that I know with the, people on Facebook, and see if I can reach more people on YouTube and start sharing the research that I find. Now, coming back to this whole thing, about nutrition with natural products, you can't make claims, that this is gonna cure. You have to put in all this research and put together all these studies and thousands of dollars. And even then, drugs and things like that aren't a guarantee. So even though the legalities are the way they are, I don't think that pharmaceutical companies are entitled to make the claims that they do, about their drugs. If well-meaning people who put together a natural product who truly want to help people. Anyway, if I can help somebody on this journey, even just one person through this YouTube channel, then I've got the mission accomplished. So yeah, as I said, I think that preventative measures are one of the best things. I was always told in high school, oh, if you wear a duffel bag, you're gonna get back problems when you're older, and you don't think anything of it. You're young, and I didn't exactly look after myself in my early 20s, and so I ended up actually, even before that, like 18, 19 years old, I picked up some bad habits like smoking and drinking. Actually, a big part of my recovery from smoking, when I quit smoking, I went to a treatment center, and I was still smoking, right? A treatment center for addiction, and I had quit drinking and smoking pot, but I was still smoking cigarettes, and I was really struggling with it because it was acceptable. You go to an AA meeting, there's still people that smoke, but they're sober, and you know what? Congratulations, for sure. I want to share from my journey what I did, what really worked for me. You know, I knew, or I had read or heard somewhere along the line that you need vitamin E to make and repair lung cells. Now, I'm going to get into the making thing a little bit later in the video. Um, I had this information, and so I started eating foods that I knew had vitamin E. So foods like nuts or sunflower seeds, because they also have phenylalanine, which is a protein for your brain and for your nerves to help repair those and smooth those over. So I knew that with regards to mental health, sometimes people that suffer from that are low in phenylalanine, but also that theoretically it would help with the craving. So what I was doing was every time I would get a craving for a cigarette, I would reach for the sunflower seeds. Beyond just it's habit forming, right? Something about that, it just, it didn't fulfill that need, right? Sometimes I still got that craving. Oh, I need to puff. I need to have a puff. It's very different from, getting a headache because something is just missing up there. And so I literally found that food was able to provide that for me. I would tell myself, use self-positive affirmations. Uh, you know, okay, I'm going to reach for these nuts or these sunflower seeds instead of having a cigarette because I'm going to build myself up stronger than I was before. And I don't smoke today. Addictive. People with ADHD, 80% of them are addicts. And so, I was always looking for better solutions, especially for my mental health. And around the age of 20, I developed some chronic pain in my back. And I very seriously think it was a duffel bag I carried around in high school. If somebody had said, hey, look, if you switch sides, you can balance out your body, right? You can create muscle imbalances by just carrying it over one shoulder all the time. With all that heavy weight pulling, it was getting worse and worse. Maybe if I had known how muscles work and how the body works, it would have occurred to me that, hey, if I carry this over this side, maybe the backpack won't, or well, duffel bag won't feel so heavy as, I have to add more textbooks and things. And so, long story short, doctors told me, well, you don't have enough symptoms. You're young, you're only in your 20s, and, I said, well, arthritis runs in my family. There must be something. No, there's nothing wrong. And so finally, now I'm 28, almost 29 years old. And I went to see a chiropractor a few months ago. He sent me for x-rays. And, what I was describing to doctors, I said, it feels like my spine is bent in there or something. And, having mental health issues and anxiety, they think you're crazy. They want to, give you pills, which, by the way, one of the biggest things and biggest problems that I've had is that when I start taking medication for this pain, the pain levels, it'll be running, it'll be going here, and then, and it'll hurt, right? So what I'll do is I'll take ibuprofen. I like ibuprofen. It really alleviates the pressure. It's an anti-inflammatory. But then the pain's going to come back up here. And so when I got sober, I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering addict. What I found was that the pain actually stays level, stays baseline. I've really gotten used to it, so I don't really notice it. I exercise. I do yoga. I lift weights. Actually, here, I'll take you on a tour of the gym I've got. Here, I've got a bench, a bunch of dumbbells. There's even a Bowflex. Now, before I continue here, I feel like I need to say something here a little bit. What works for me isn't necessarily going to work for everybody. That's why we need a coach, somebody to kind of help us through the process and figure out, okay, this is working for me, right? And sometimes we just need somebody to, help us, stay on track, or like figure things out, right? Like I spent years having to try this and try that, and I had no way, I wasn't keeping track. I didn't know how to keep track. Okay, like, this is working and this isn't working. I was kind of doing everything at once or nothing at all, So I found a few different lifestyle changes that have really gone just such a long way to helping me manage that pain. One of those things is finding foods that are high in magnesium, because magnesium helps strengthen muscles and smooth out the nerves, which helps alleviate pain and pressure. And again, that actually brings me back to, nuts, believe it or not. A lot of nuts are really high in magnesium as well. They're such a great food, different kinds of nuts. I especially love walnuts. They have a great omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, which is something that has been proven you need to have a good balance of for optimal health. So another thing that I do is I try to eat a whole foods plant-based diet. Now, I don't completely eliminate meat. The vegan diet before has honestly completely eliminated all my pain. But after a couple of days, I start to feel hungry. And meat also has certain proteins that are more readily available for putting on muscle. And so I can find certain validations to keep meat in the diet, in terms of recovery from a workout. I think it's a really good tool that can be used. And again, along with, getting the proper nutrients, nuts aren't the only thing high in magnesium. A lot of different grains and seeds. I love oatmeal. Oatmeal is great, a really good source of protein too. So, there's lots of options. I also take a supplement too, that's my personal choice. But, the muscles atrophy as we age. So I think it's important to look after ourselves, right? All in all, no matter what walk of life. But I mean, does it really need to happen? I mean, things I've been learning, and this is where I'm going to include some research. I've been learning, I've actually known for quite a few years about stem cells. Now, for a long time, it was thought stem cells can only be produced in a fetus, like in a mother's womb. Stem cells are basically like a photocopier machine. You have a cell, and it copies more, right? So some of them, they can develop into others, right? Some of them are capable, depending on genes and timing. There's a lot of factors. It's really complex and so cool. And for like I said, for a long time, they thought the human body couldn't produce stem cells internally, right? Like they found ways of taking out your bone marrow, or, well, it actually started with the fetuses. They were able to make stem cells and inject them into people, but then they started finding that your bone marrow actually helps produce stem cells. So they started doing bone marrow extractions and making stem cells out of that to give to people. But your body is actually supposed to, as part of its reparative system, produce stem cells under certain circumstances, and it's either more difficult or less difficult depending on your health factors. So for the last couple of minutes, I'm going to give some thoughts on how. Now, I first discovered them, I was learning about algae. Algae is very nutritious and can be a complete source of protein, and there's different types. And that was actually how it was a complete accident that they discovered that you can produce internal stem cells, and it was a matter of just not getting enough nutrition. That's what really did it for me. Like, okay, learning about multivitamins and things like this, what's the best one to take? And so I choose to take algae because it's so high in vitamins and all minerals. Like, you could basically live off of them. You wouldn't be getting any carbs and barely any fats. So, in and of themselves. But I'm gonna talk about those in a later video. It's interesting though. What I found out recently was that blueberries mixed with green tea and a certain protein, I think it was arginine, mixed together. Now, all of this can be found in algae, so if you just, sometimes I'll mix in a smoothie blueberries, matcha, green tea, and protein powder, right, to get the benefits. And but there's another factor, and it's lifestyle. It's movement. You get blood flowing to the muscles, right? What happens is you're telling your muscles that you need them. You need to use them. That's why people can stay healthy, at any age doing, not everybody lifts weights. Some people are just really active. They like to go for a run or, play tennis and stuff like that. They just do stuff that keeps them active, and they're healthy, and that'll also help activate stem cell regeneration. So definitely, if you're curious and you want to know more, I'll include the research papers. Might be a little bit complicated for some of you, so I'm going to be covering this definitely in many future episodes. Next week, I'm going to talk about the omega-3, omega-6 balance. I want to learn a little bit more on that. And maybe about the lungs a little bit more too. I'm going to tie that together. Oops, I forgot something. I promised to come back to the making new lung cells. So, as of right now, present research says that stem cells help to support the remaining structure. When lungs get damaged, they don't really work to build new alveoli, which are the little air sacs, so once it's damaged, so far, we don't know of any natural way that the body can replenish itself. However, we didn't know the body could produce stem cells, so I'm actually quite hopeful, and I can tell by the papers that, people are still looking into it and looking into the possibilities. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'll keep you guys posted. So on that note, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a happy 24.